everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I have Romantic Country by Erie. This is the first tale, and I've been using this book for my tips and tricks on how to improve your coloring skills series. If you've not already seen that series, there is a whole lot to catch up on, and there are lots of really fun and helpful tips and tricks in every one of those videos. Today we're going to go over shading and how to shade like a pro. So I've had lots of questions in my Facebook group and in my YouTube comments, and I have people asking me all the time, how do you make your objects really stand out and just pop off your page with all that extra depth and dimension? And so that's what we're going to go over today. In the first part of the video, I'm going to show you exactly how I choose my colors and why I choose the colors that I do, because that is very, very important when you're trying to create all of the depth and dimension on any object on your coloring page. Then in the second part of the video, I am going to do a tutorial, and I'm going to demonstrate exactly how I would lay those colors down to be able to create all that extra depth and dimension by creating those drastic shadows with the darkest color in my color combination. And hopefully I'll be able to show you the difference in what it would look like before you added your shadows, and then what it looks like when you decide to come back and add those shadows in. And you'll be able to watch the object on the coloring page really just pop and come to life before your eyes. A lot of you have been asking me about this color combinations and blending workbook that I created that is available in my Etsy shop. And I wanted to share it in this video because it has a lot to do with what I'm going to be showing you in this video. And if you want to have a little bit of extra practice and you want to learn how to do this on your own, this workbook is a full tutorial workbook, and it's a really great resource to help you to be able to learn how to do that on your own. This workbook is not only going to show you how to create your color combinations and blend them together, but it's going to explain to you step by step how to choose your colors and why the colors that you're choosing to create your color combinations are so important. So this is the front cover, and as you can see, it says complete step-by-step comprehensive interactive tutorial. So the whole entire workbook is a tutorial, and you can purchase it in a bundle. So let me just share a couple of the pages with you, because I've only shared this in one other video, and a lot of you are still asking me, and I know not everybody watches every single video. So this is the first page, and I share lots of important tips throughout the whole entire workbook. And then you see here it says step-by-step instructional tutorial. So the tutorial starts here, and it just goes on page by page, step by step, and guides you through the whole entire process on choosing or how to choose your colors. And then it's going to have little helpful hints throughout the entire workbook. So this is not every page in the workbook. You could see here that we have jumped to step 4 now, and it's going to give you in detail exactly what you need to do to be able to blend your colors together. It's going to have a diagram here. This is my sample. Now, if you print this out in color, this is going to be in color, and you'd be able to see all of the colors. And I do tell you here exactly which colors I use, and I'm using Prismacolors, but you can use any pencils or any colored pencil set that you want. So the diagram basically tells you exactly where to lay your colors, and the directions or the instructions tell you exactly how to lay your colors down so that you can get very smooth transition lines. So now we've actually jumped a little bit ahead in the workbook, and we are on creating four blend color combinations. And just before this, you would learn how to create 3 color combinations, and then it's going to show you exactly how to insert that transition color and turn your 3 color combinations into 4 color combinations. And then if you purchase it as a bundle, you could purchase just the workbook. There are 29 pages in the workbook, or you could purchase it as a bundle where you will get lots of different color combination sheets where you could practice putting together your own color combinations. This is the 3 blend color combination. This is the 4 blend color combination, and it goes all the way up to 10. And in the actual workbook, it shows you how to go from 3 color combinations to 5 color combinations. And as you go through, you will see after you learn how to do 5, you could do 6, 7, 8, 9, as many colors as you want. You'll see when I'm coloring a lot of the time, I tend to use way more than 3 colors or even 4 colors. I sometimes have up to 7 or 8 colors I'm using even just on one flower. So you can learn how to do that with the workbook. And this workbook is available in my Etsy store. I always have the link down below in the description box if you're interested. So I have a piece of Spring Hill paper here, and I'm going to show you exactly how I decide on the colors I'm going to use when I'm creating my color combinations. And a lot of that is going to be in the workbook that I showed you, but I'm going to show it to you in the video, and the workbook is going to go much further into this and allow you to practice this on your own. I've chosen 3 colors here. I actually have a video where I shared all of my highlight colors that I generally use in the Prismacolor set. I'll link that in the upper right hand corner or down below in the description box so that you can see that if you've not already seen that video. But I have a whole list of highlight colors that I generally use that are generally just the lightest colors that you're going to find in the Prismacolor set. So when you're choosing your colors, you want to make sure that your colors have a pretty big difference in value. And it's okay to always just start with 3 colors. And that is usually what I do. I'll start with 3 colors and I will bring in more as I start to lay the colors down on the coloring page. So that's why in the workbook that I just showed you, you saw that it starts with 3 color combinations and then it shows you how to go to 4 color combinations, 5 color combinations, and how to add the colors in. And I generally do that as I'm laying the colors down on the coloring page. So I always want to make sure the first 3 colors that I choose have a pretty great difference in value so that whatever it is I'm coloring on my coloring page will really stand out and have all that extra depth and dimension. Now I'm going to lay these colors down on the Spring Hill paper and I'm going to show you the difference that these colors have. Now this is Deco Pink, and then this next color I think is Pink, Hot Pink. So I'm going to lay this one down and you can see there is a pretty big difference in the value of these 2 colors. So this is going to be my mid-tone and this is going to be my lightest color, which would be the color I'm using for my highlights. And then I chose Mulberry, and this is like a really dark pinky purple color. And I'm going to lay that one down and pull that into my mid-tone. And you could see the difference between these colors and how much of a difference there is in the value of these colors. And when I say value, I just mean from darkest to lightest. So this color here is much darker than this color, and then this color here is much darker than this color. And that is what is going to help you to create all the extra depth and dimension that you need on your coloring pages. And then of course you're always going to get a really nice blend between the colors, especially with Prismacolors. So if you look here at the transition, which is here and here, is always going to create another color. So this color here is a blend of the Mulberry and the Hot Pink. And then this color here you see in this transition area is a blend of the Hot Pink and then the Deco Pink. When you're laying your colors down on your coloring pages and the colors blend together, especially on a flower, it tends to just make it look really, really pretty. But it's very, very important to have a color that is dark enough, and then that color just needs to be much darker than whatever you're using for your midtone. Now, after you start laying these colors down on your coloring page, say you're using these colors to color a flower. These colors would be really pretty to color a flower, and I'm pretty sure I've probably colored flowers with these colors before. But if you laid all of the colors down and you colored in your flower, and you think that this Mulberry is still not dark enough, you could always grab another color and you can add it and create a 4 color combination. So here I have Dahlia Purple, and I could always just add that right in there, and whatever it is I'm coloring would end up having even more of a drastic shadow on it. And that is going to help to create all that extra depth and dimension in whatever it is you're coloring on your coloring page. So I just made a 4 color combination. And as you're coming into your transition area, always make sure you're lifting up on the pressure of your pencil. But look how pretty that is. And if you laid that down on a flower, that would be absolutely beautiful. So that is how I choose my colors. Let me go ahead and grab the coloring book. So we're going to be working in this coloring book today. This is Erie Romantic Country, and this is the page that we're going to be working on. I've done quite a few tutorials already in here. I believe this one was how to create white on white paper. This one I believe was how to create black without using black, and then we've still got our highlights in there in those boots. There were just several different tutorials that I did on this page. I showed you how to fix your mistakes. I even did a little bit of a background tutorial, but there were so many different things I did on this page. And if you want to see that, that will be linked in the upper right-hand corner above. So I was originally just going to color these pots, and I had some colors laid aside, but now that I have come out with these shades of pink, I think that these would look really pretty if I showed you how to use them here in these flowers, and it would work really, really well because they are all right next to one another. So I'm going to take my lightest color. I'm going to set the darkest colors aside, and I'm just going to use the hot pink and the deco pink. We are just going to lay those colors down in all of these flowers. Okay, so I grabbed a longer hot pink and sharpened it so that y'all could actually see and my hand doesn't get in the way. But we're going to come in here, we're going to use this color that I actually had for my midtone, and I'm going to show you what it looks like before these have any depth and dimension, just using these two colors. So I'm just going to blend some of this into every one of these flowers with the deco pink. And I'm trying to lay the color in different places on each one of these flowers. Okay, so this is just with two colors, and you can see by looking at the flowers, there is not much depth or dimension. They just really look flat. And so now I'm going to get the third color I had showed you, which was mulberry, and I'm going to start to add a little bit more color to these flowers. We'll be able to see the difference right away. And this is why it's so important to use at least 3 colors when you're creating your color combinations. And of course, this is just one layer. So y'all know when you're using colored pencils, you need to come back and just keep adding layers. And when you think you're done, tell yourself, okay, just one more layer. I'm going to have to come back with the color I was using for my midtone, which is my hot pink, and I'm going to have to just blend those colors together now. And then of course we need to grab our deco pink, and we need to blend all of these together again. And you could tell by looking at this, it still does not have enough color, and it still does not really have enough depth and dimension just using those 3 colors. And that's why I like to add in a 4th color. Now I could come back and lay another layer and use a little bit harder pressure with the mulberry, and it will completely change the way that it looks. It's going to start to look very different. The more layers of any one color that you add, you're also changing the value of that color. And that's why when I swatch out my colors, I like to always lay down a gradient of the colors, like what it would look like if it was using very hard pressure and then medium pressure and then just very light pressure, because sometimes I'm going to want to be able to color something and I want to know the different colors I can get from that one pencil. Okay, so we can see that it's starting to get a little bit more depth and dimension, but to me, when I look at this, there's still not enough. So I'm going to grab the Dahlia Purple, which was the darkest of my colors. And it's also a little bit different because it has a lot more purple in it. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to start adding some of that. And this should actually make a huge difference. And you could see that I'm laying the color anywhere I've got another flower laying right up against the other one. And you could sort of watch this as I just fill this color in. Do you see how just laying this color down here is creating a separation between this and this flower? And it makes a huge difference. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here just so y'all can watch it and see how that happens. And this is why I love colored pencils so much. I could watch, I will sit here and edit a video and I will just watch myself color because it is just so satisfying watching the objects on the coloring page just come to life with color and start to pop off the page. But look how when I add that darkest color in there, how it just lifts that off the page. Is that not the coolest thing ever? And it's getting rid of the line art. And the line art in this book is very easy to get rid of because it is more on the gray side, a very light gray. And the artist of this book, or this series of coloring books, she actually drew out all of this line art with a toothpick. So fun tip if you all didn't already know that. So I just think that's really, really cool. But didn't that make such a huge difference? And then you would just come back with your next darkest color and you would pull those colors together and just sort of spread them out. And then I have my hot pink and I'm just going over them again just to blend some of those colors in. I almost want to pull out my Posca just to really intensify these shadows by creating even a bigger difference. And I don't really want these harsh lines here that I made, so I'm just going over this with the Deco Pink and spreading it out just a little bit. And then I think just to make the difference in the value even more and just add that little pop of highlight to intensify all of the depth and dimension, I'm going to grab my Posca and I'm just going to add a tiny bit in each one of those. And if you've seen my video or my videos before where I add Posca, I'll see if you add Posca and you mess up, just go over it and it pulls it right back up. We don't have time for mistakes, but mistakes are always fixable. But I like to just tap with my finger when I'm using my Posca, just so that it blends in a little bit better. So now we're going to come down here and we're going to do, I think, this pot here. And I've chosen some colors and I don't know if they are the same colors that I used in this one here, but I'm trying to bring some of the colors down just to create a little bit of balance. So I wanted to be able to show you that as well. But I have light umber, burnt ochre, and then I have peach. Now I'm going to set the light umber, since it's my darkest color for now, I'm going to set that one aside. And I'm only going to use these two here. And I'm going to show you the difference in what it's going to look like once I come back and add that darkest color. So I'm only laying my lightest color for now. And in this one, I'm going to use a little bit of the white of the paper as well. And this is all also going to act as my first layer, so that once the colors start piling, we will see a much bigger difference in the value of the colors. Now this paper is a smoother paper and I find that the Prismacolors work okay, but I find that the polychromos generally work even better. I was really surprised when I was doing a tutorial one day and pulled out my polychromos and I was like, oh, wow. But they layer so nicely on this paper because it is a smoother paper. Okay, so that is the peach. And now I'm going to come back with my burnt ochre. I need to turn the book a little bit just to get more comfortable here. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to lay some of this color. And it looks very similar to this one up here. So this might be the colors I used. And if you didn't see those videos, I'm going to do this one just like I did. And this one might have even been a tutorial on how to still make it look like it has texture and depth and dimension using just two colors. But for this one, it's going to look a little bit different because we are not going to use just two colors. And if you just want to use two colors, you can totally do that too, because you could see it turned out really beautiful still. And I'm pretty sure that's what that tutorial was. And I could see here that I just used a different value of the colors. And I think it was this burnt ochre. I really, now that I'm laying these colors down, it does look like it was the burnt ochre, and it looks like I used different values of the color from the one pencil just to create that. So here for this one, I think that we're going to be able to create a little bit of texture as well. And you can see that it looks a lot like this one right now. And I'm leaving that white right in the center like I did with the others. I love how this one turned out with the teal colors. So pretty. But to create that texture, all you're going to do is just make lines like that with your colored pencils. Okay, so these are definitely the colors I used for that one. That was a good pick because I definitely didn't go back and watch that video. Okay, so that is what it looks like just with the two colors. And I could come back and add just a little bit more of this just to blend those colors out just a little bit. Okay, so you could see what it looks like before we come in and we add the darker color, which is the light umber. And still, this is a pretty light brown color, so we could even do what we did on this here, on these flowers, and we could even come back with a fourth color to make this one look much different than this one. And then at the same time, we're still creating balance because we use the colors in this one, and although this one still looks really, really pretty, we're gonna change this one up quite a bit. So I'm going to come in here with my light umber and I'm going to start adding some shadows just to create that depth and dimension here. And I want to make sure I do that right down here, add quite a bit of it, because I want you to see how it's going to create the separation between these two pieces here. And it's really going to make it look like this section here is standing apart from the other one, and it's going to start lifting off the page. Can you see how it already looks a little bit lifted there? And I'm going to come down here and do it on the sides as well. And I probably should do this as a speed through just so y'all could see it in faster motion coming together. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So as I work on this, y'all can just see it come to life. So looking at this already, you could see we've already created quite a bit of depth and dimension. I have grabbed my dark brown, which is darker than the light umber. I'll hold it closer so you could see the difference in these colors. Actually, I will swatch them so you could see the difference in the values of these two colors. But here's the light umber. And then here is the dark brown. And you could see how that is quite a bit darker than that light umber. So we're going to go ahead and use the dark brown, and I've got a nice sharp tip on my pencil because I want to use this to create a lot more depth and create those shadows. And as I do this, I'm going to speed it up again, just so that you could see it all come together really quickly, so that you could see it as it starts to lift off the page. So now I'm coming back with the white Prismacolor, and I am just creating a little bit more of a highlight in some of these areas here. And your white Prismacolor should go directly right over the other colors, no matter how dark they are. I think I'm just going to finish it off by using some of these greens, just so we could see it all come together. And for these little teeny tiny small areas, I'm just going to use two colors. And then I'm going to use three colors in these two spaces here. Just going to add a little bit of a highlight here just to pull these colors out. And then a little bit more of my darkest color just to, again, create that extra added depth and dimension that I need to create the separation between the parts here on the base or on the pot. And then I'm just spreading those colors out. Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed this video. As you can see, I was able to create much more depth and dimension. And we had this one here to be able to compare this one to, so you could see what this looked like with just the two colors. And although it looks really, really pretty, and you can totally do that because I used the white of the paper as my highlight color technically. And that is another technique that you can do. But if you want to create even more depth and dimension and maybe change the colors up a little bit, that's what I did over here in this one. And you could see that the shadows are much more intense on this one, and this one's a little bit more lifted from the paper. It looks a lot more like this one as far as how much it's elevated, but this one looks pretty too. If you want to see the tutorial on that one, I'll try to find it and link it in the upper right hand corner, but there's so many videos now, I don't know that I'll be able to find it. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and if you follow this tutorial, please do tag me in my Facebook group if you would like to share it, because I'd love to see what you came up with. Everything you've seen in this video will be shared down in the description box below. And if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, because that really helps my content to be seen by others in the coloring community. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy coloring. Bye.